What's up, everybody? This is Tatiana from the Hard Pill Podcast, and I'm back again with another message. Make sure as you come into the video to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube and the Patreon. If you like, on my Patreon, I put out exclusive content, not for the public, and it's a little bit more personal. Also, I do offer one-on-one coaching, so check out that information as well via Patreon. Anyway, let's get into the video. So I was on these YouTube streets today, and I actually came across a video from KREW Season, which is a podcast that I used to follow. I don't follow them anymore because they do pop up on my recommends because we kind of do like the same kind of content. And essentially, sometimes I might check out their videos every once in a blue moon, but when somebody's content becomes redundant to me and not necessarily progressive in conversation, I kind of just have to drop them off. So it ain't no shade to them. I still check out their content from like once in a blue moon or whatever, but just I don't feel a need to be a subscriber anymore because I haven't learned anything from them. Anyway, so they just posted a video called Woman Rejects Nuclear Physicist in 2 minutes, right? So it's the two guys from KREW Season. It's these two young ladies who popped on to the live and they shared a video of the nuclear physicist. And I guess he's like on, like a dating podcast or something like that. But there are two different women. I'm guessing the first one who was to the far left is the host, and the woman who was like interested in like dating is in the middle. I'm kind of thinking it's like a podcast speed dating kind of thing. That's the kind of vibes that it gives me. Anyway, so there's a young man there, and she asks the guy to essentially like tell her about himself. So he is attractive, light-skinned, younger looking guy, but I think he said he was like 27 or something like that, curly hair. And I think initially I do agree with the people on the panel, the KREW Season, and the two young ladies in the reaction, video. I do believe that initially the woman was interested in him, but as he began to talk, he became less attractive, and you can visibly see that on her. The one young lady from the KREW Season video, at the top on the far right, I'm saying that like I can see this, on the far right, was basically essentially saying that she feels like women are entitled and that we have to give more grace to men in regards to being more pleasant, even if we are going to reject them because we don't understand how nerve-wracking it can be for somebody to just come up and approach you. And to a certain degree, I do agree with that. Now, I kind of don't agree with the whole entitlement thing. I just believe, who's going to come up to me is going to come up to me. I personally don't have entitlement, issues or whatever, but I do, even if I am rejecting somebody, I do try to be pleasant. I'm not necessarily going to go out my way and be beaming like cheek to cheek, like smiling, like letting somebody down, but I'm going to just be like, nah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hope you find what you're looking for, but I'm just not interested. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's pleasant enough. I think that she articulated by saying that you gotta be all cheeky and super, beaming, and I don't feel like I need to do all of that, especially with somebody I'm not interested in, because I know if it was a man and I was to go up to him, which I would never do, but if I was and he wasn't interested in me, he's not gonna be beaming like cheek to cheek, like saying, oh yeah, like, you're great, but no, I'm gonna pass. Like, no, he's just gonna be like, nah, shorty. Oh, I mean, if he's respectful, he gonna just be like, nah, shorty, like you seem cool and all of that, but I'm just not physically attracted to you. And he gonna go about his day, and I respect that. But all of that, grinning, and I think that's just too much. Anyway, the lady underneath, the brown skin shorty, she was essentially saying that she ended up in a situation similar to the video that they were reacting to while she was in college. And it was this guy, and he happened to be nerdy. And from her assessment of the video, she was essentially saying that the woman instantly became unattractive to him because he was nerdy. He was, shooting off his accolades. And she was like, see, this is the problem with Black women. Like, they don't tend to go for the nerdy guys and all of this other kind of different stuff. And it's not until they get this money and be living in the woodlands or whatever with the nice cars and stuff like that Black women feel slighted, that they're dating women outside of their race. And my whole opinion and assessment of the situation is I think that even regardless of the kind of man that you are, whether you're nerdy, whether you just a regular black dude, whether you're alternative, whatever you are, because black men are not a monolith. Black people in general have to learn duality when it comes to dating. And if I'm specifically asking about you, I don't want you to rattle off all of your accolades, because that doesn't do nothing for me. Like, I want to know who you are as a person. Like, it's cool for you to mention the things that you've accomplished, because obviously a lot of men, like I mentioned in my last video, rattle off, like they put a lot of stock in their accolades. And if you haven't checked that video out, that video is 5 reasons why you might not be her piece. I was saying that, I know a lot of dudes put their stock in their accolades, so I can understand being proud of something. But when I'm asking you about you, like, you are not your job. You know what I'm saying? You are not your degree. You are a person. You have a personality. There's things that you enjoy and that you like. And I want to know about those things. I don't want to. He spent 2 minutes rattling off his accolades when she could have really got to know him as a person. And I think that is what turned her off. It wasn't necessarily that he sounded like a nerd, but there was nothing interesting about him. And I think that's the misconception that a lot of people get wrong is, black women, well, speaking from a black woman's point of view, I've dated a spectrum of different men, from the nerdiest dudes all the way down to the most hoodest, dangerous dudes, you know what I'm saying? And everything in between. And the one thing that I can definitely attribute to, the thing that keeps me around, is somebody who is interesting, somebody who knows how to laugh, somebody who has interest, somebody who has different things about themselves that is rooted in something other than money, in a position or accolades. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I was to take all of that, or if somebody was to take all of that different stuff away from you, like, what would you be? Like, what would interest you, and what would be interesting about you? And I think a lot of times, because and I mean, you could say this for men and women, specifically those who do worry about grades and accolades and positions and money and all of this other kind of different stuff. They don't take the time to learn duality and figure out what is interesting to them or what drives their interests aside from just that, so you end up being a boring person. Like I can't like they say for like men, right? They'll get these quote unquote like good women. She cooks, she clean, she have sex when you want her to, all of this other kind of different stuff. But she doesn't have any intangibles about her that makes her interesting. She's just there. She just exists. And that gets boring. The fact that you don't have any personality, no pizzazz, no je ne sais quoi, no moxie about yourself is going to make somebody disinterested in you, because you just being this goody two shoot. Like, it takes more than being a good man or a good woman to keep somebody interested in you. And it is those intangibles. It is something that you find interesting that, fuels you outside of just earning a paycheck or getting a degree or getting in a new position. Like, come on. So their whole assessment of the situation was just like wild interesting to me. But I think there is this big misconception about black women not wanting dudes who are like nerdy or who are in tech or who like anime or who are alternative. Like, we would gladly date those dudes, especially if we physically see them attractive. But you have to be interesting, right? You have to be somewhat interesting. And if you're not interesting, then we're not interested. You don't have to be no super swagged out dude with no chains and all of this. If anything, those is the most corniest dudes. Like, if you know how the dudes who overcompensate with the big chains and they got to be dripped in designer, this, that, and the third, and da-da-da. You have a conversation with them, if you can have a conversation with them for an hour, because a lot of them don't know how to speak, but they feel, if anything, more entitled and get off with the fact that, I got all of this on, or whatever the case may be. Like, people should just be naturally attracted to me. And it's just like, no, like, like it depends on what you bring to a conversation. Like, what is interesting about you. And typically those are the guys who really just don't want to try it. But, I just hate this misconception about black women not wanting to deal with more nerdier dudes, or the quote unquote boring guy, or the educated lane, whatever. Like, you just have to be interesting. Anytime you are going out and dating, you have to have duality. It would be the same thing for like, you know, the hood dude. Say the hood dude was actually like an option, right? Say the hood dude or the drippy dude was like an option, right? He got all of this, you know, he got the drip, he got the chains, you know what I'm saying? He get a haircut, you know, every week, spending $40, $60 on it or whatever, maybe even $1 if he got it like that, you know what I'm saying? He going to somebody who actually like, you know, does a good job. But like, say that kind of guy is like an option, right? If he's not bringing any personality or anything to the table and he doesn't have duality in how to speak to women, he's not going to be a viable option to a woman with substance. He's just not. So if you're dealing with people who don't have substance, if you're dealing with people who don't understand that you have to have a little bit of mystique to yourself, while also you could definitely, I'm not saying that you can't flex your accolades. Be proud of who you are, what you accomplished, and all of that other kind of different stuff. But it does not hold any weight to somebody who really wants to get to know you and the things that you are interested in. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to, the things that you talk about, you have to make those things enjoyable to women. We like excitement. We like fun. We like edgy. We like smart. We like techie. We like it all. But you have to understand that, you know, every woman isn't trying to deal with a dude, you know, that has substance. And don't get it twisted. Like, a lot of the times these girls are dealing with these guys out of necessity. It's not because they truly like their personalities. If y'all heard the way some of these white girls and these other women talk, they be saying these dudes is boring too, but they playing the long game. They gonna play the long game and act like, oh yeah, I'm interested in all of the things that you talking about. Da, 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 da. Next thing you know, he's married to her. They popping out a couple of kids, and she knows, like, I would rather deal with this boring guy. I'm suffering on the inside, and she's probably emotionally cheating, but she's like, I'm suffering on the inside. I don't necessarily, and I'm not saying this is the absolute case. I'm just saying that a lot of non-Black women who would go for a guy like that, who is just quick to rattle off his accolades and different things like that without showing any personality, they like to play the long game, right? They like to play the long game. And it's the same thing for the Black women who like to deal with these swaggy, drippy dudes or whatever, who actually want a guy with substance, but they play the long game and dumb themselves down so they can get into a position of being with a guy who has a swag, who has a status and all of this other kind of different stuff, but they want to live in that lifestyle with him. So at the end of the day, there's people on both sides who are perpetrating a fraud. You got to make sure that when a woman is actually coming after you, she's genuinely interested in you. But that would mean that you would have to flex your personality, not your accolades, not what you do. Again, mention them if you like, but you have to be somebody outside of the different kind of positions that you are in, especially if you want something to last long term. So I just thought their assessment of the whole situation was just mad cheesy. And again, women don't owe these men no smiles. If before you even go up to a woman, she has a disposition where she's coming off a little kind of way, regardless of the kind of color she is, then don't approach her. That's the first thing. A lot of dudes don't have discernment. Y'all sit up on these podcasts all day and listen to these men talk about how to pick up women and all this and the third. Y'all need to be tapping into these different spiritual podcasts that'll help you discern whether a woman is truly interested in you or not based off of her energy. That's what you need to be doing. But to be honest with you, I just thought the whole situation was whack. I was just like, it's just so many stigmas on Black women across the board that I think that we need to get rid of. And I'm not saying that two things can't be right at the same time, right? Like, there's definitely women out there who definitely just only want to do for his swag. And, you know, they want to know if he lit and, you know, with a hookah and all of that other kind of, but there's definitely women who would not, Black women specifically, like me, you know what I'm saying? Who would not mind dealing with a dude who isn't the quintessential version of what a Black man is based on society standards, and entertain him. But also, like, I don't think a lot of those guys have actually been put in a position where they're trying to work on their personality and become more interesting. Because if that's the case, then a lot of women would not be rolling their eyes and rolling their necks when they come around or when they start having conversations. It's like, to be honest, a lot of y'all dudes, I was about to curse, but a lot of y'all be like a snooze fest on both spectrums. Dudes be boring. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, a lot of the times, not every dude, but a lot of the times, dudes be boring. Don't have nothing to talk about. Don't have nothing to bring to the table. It's very so often that you can get a dude where you can speak hours to. That man is an anomaly. Somebody who could just converse about any and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, real women like duality. So anyway, that's my whole thoughts on the situation. Again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the video. Hit up the Patreon for more exclusive, content that I will not be making towards the public. And y'all already know I love y'all how I love y'all, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.